Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another video. And with Battlefront and Star Wars games in general making a huge comeback in the gaming world over the past week with the announcement of the Battlefront Classic Collection, I wanted to look back at what could have been in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 getting cancelled was perhaps one of the greatest Star Wars gaming tragedies of all time, as with the troubled launch of the game, it almost felt like it was just getting started when they pulled the plug. The amount of heroes, maps, and overall features that feel like they are glaringly missing is crazy, and that's exactly what we are going to get into today with some background gameplay of a super fun Capital Supremacy match I played a couple of days ago. If you enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like, it would be greatly appreciated. I plan to pump out a lot more content just like this leading up to the release of the Battlefront Classic Collection, so be sure to stay tuned. But with all that being said, let's get into this. To start us off, I first want to talk about what is one of the most requested features in the history of the game, and that is private matches. Private matches were a feature that was in Battlefront 2015, but because of the rushed launch of Battlefront 2, they were never added. It's a shame because they would have been a great way to set up tournaments and play online modes with just your friends in an open-ended, fully customizable format. They wouldn't have even been that hard to code because, again, they were in the original game with fully customizable features. Had support not ended as early as it did, I think we definitely would have seen private matches, and what a feature it would have been. Messing around with your friends in Heroes vs. Villains and recreating famous movie duels is an experience non-PC players will never get to have, and it's yet another example of lost potential in Battlefront 2. Moving on, how can we not talk about missing features without talking about the large amount of important prequel characters that are nowhere to be seen in Battlefront 2? Characters like Padme Amidala, Ashoka, Mace Windu, Cad Bane, and Asajj Ventress are not to be found in Battlefront 2, despite DICE claiming that their vision for Battlefront 2 was complete. While we have core characters like Obi-Wan, Anakin, and General Grievous, it's kind of sad to think that main prequel characters like Mace Windu aren't in the game. Samuel L. Jackson has even publicly stated he's open to reprising his role as Mace Windu and would have gladly voiced the character. There is clear evidence that DICE was working on Padme, Ahsoka, and Ventress in the files, but there was little they could do when EA pulled the plug. Mace Windu could have added more brute force to the light side, while Cad Bane could have been an awesome new blaster hero to coincide with Padme, as after the Last Jedi DLC, not a single new blaster hero was ever added to the game. Overall, the prequel era had so many options for Battlefront heroes, and it's a shame that we never got to see what DICE would have come up with, because I think it would have been pretty great. Up next, we have the heroes from Battlefront 2015. It's interesting that these are even on the list, because one would think that in a sequel game, heroes would only be added rather than removed. But as we all know, EA and their rushed release demands put quite a hindrance on the launch date of Battlefront 2. Despite this, it still remains a tragedy that we never got to see fun heroes like Greedo, Dengar, Jyn Erso, and Director Krennic. I didn't forget Nai and Num, I just really couldn't care less. It is important to note that all the 4 heroes I just named are blaster heroes, a type of hero that DICE seemed to completely forget about post-launch. I think that the heroes from Battlefront 2015 that are missing would have fit great into Battlefront 2, especially considering that we eventually got Scarif as a map. I believe that at least Jyn Erso and Director Krennic would have eventually made it to the game. They may have even been added in the Scarif update had it not been a rushed final update, and they would have been a great addition to Battlefront's lacking blaster hero lineup. Also, despite Dengar's lack of screen time, he was a fan favorite in Battlefront 2015, and I see no reason why he wouldn't have been just as fun in Battlefront 2. Overall, had the launch been a year later, I believe all the heroes from Battlefront 2015 would have made it into Battlefront 2, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. How can we not talk about a Star Wars game without eventually mentioning the maps? While Battlefront 2 did a pretty good job with maps, if you compare it to Battlefront 2 from 2005, it's kind of sad. Maps like Coruscant, Utapau, and Mustafar are nowhere to be seen, despite being core locations in the prequel-era movies. Coruscant is certainly the biggest elephant in the room, as it would have been a great location for so many different reasons. While Galactic Assault would have been hard to pull off, I think they could have done it, especially if they'd made it centered around the Jedi Temple. Supremacy would have worked really amazingly well anywhere in Coruscant, and a Jedi Temple HvV map would have just been perfect. It pains me that we never got to see the designs DICE would have come up with, because we all know it would have been amazing. We all know how amazing a Mustafar HvV map would have been. The fact that it was never added still baffles me to this day. And Utapau is a map they really could have used for any mode if they wanted to. And although people don't talk about this much, I think there was a missed opportunity to have a Geonosis factory map for HvV. It would have been silly, but so fun. I still stand by the fact that they could have added a Star Destroyer to original Trilogy Supremacy, or at least for a cool HvV map. But again, that never happened. Speaking of original Trilogy maps, the fact that we never got a Duel of Cloud City map for HvV is crazy and kind of sad to think about. Overall, Star Wars has such a vast array of locations that I really could go on forever, but hopefully you get the point. There were core movie locations that were never added to Battlefront 2, and it's a shame, because if DICE was good at anything, it was making good-looking Star Wars maps. This won't be a super long segment, but I did want to mention some Gamemode ideas that I think would have been worth considering. The first one is a blow up the Death Star mode. In this mode, players will be put right into the famous sequence in A New Hope, where the Rebel Alliance is desperately trying to blow up the Death Star, while the Empire tries to stop them. It would have been a fun new Starfighter mode, and although it may have been hard to make considering how the movie scene ended up working out, I think it would have been worth considering, as the Starfighter combat in Battlefront 2 is objectively really good. They could have even added a Death Star 2 and Starkiller base map for this mode to add some variety. The next mode I want to talk about is a famous movie duels mode idea. In this mode, players would be transported into the classic lightsaber battles. It would work kind of like Hero Showdown, but feature some more voice lines and character moments. Imagine having an Obi-Wan and Anakin duel in this mode, or an Old Ben and Darth Vader duel. It would have been a lot of work for DICE, but I think it would have been a fun way to practice lightsaber dueling while having some good old Star Wars fun. I have other ideas like a Jedi Temple Siege mode, but I don't have any details worked out, so I will spare you that time. While Battlefront 2 did a great job with its many modes, I think this was worth mentioning as I really like some of the modes I came up with. Finally, I wanted to talk about the vast array of missing hero skin options that Battlefront 2 never added. I'm just going to get right into it because there are a lot of important skins, especially ones from the prequel era, that were just never added to Battlefront 2 for whatever reason. I'm not sure why EA couldn't have devoted a few people to make a new skin every couple of months for Battlefront 2 just to keep it fresh, but alas, that never happened. Anyways, I don't want to waste a ton of time, so I will just quickly go through all the skins I think could have, should have, and probably would have been added to the game had Battlefront 2 gotten the 1 or 2 more years of development it deserved. I think Palpatine should have gotten a Chancellor skin, maybe one while he still looked human, and another with his face messed up. Bossk should have gotten a prison skin, Iden should have gotten an old Iden skin, Maul should have gotten a robed appearance at launch, along with a ton of Clone Wars skins rather than the strange old Master one they released. Phasma should have had a battle-damaged appearance, Obi-Wan should have had an Old Ben appearance, and Anakin should have had an appearance from Attack of the Clones. There are others I could mention, but that's what I thought of. Overall, Star Wars has so many fun cosmetic options, and the fact that we never got core appearances like Old Ben is, and I've said this a lot today, kind of sad, and that is the theme of this video. Battlefront 2 had so much potential, and as a person who can proudly state it as their favorite video game of all time, I still remember how heart-wrenching it was when support ended. There's a lot more features I could have discussed today, but I wanted to keep it brief and talk about the ones that meant the most to me. If there's any features you think should have been in this video, be sure to let me know down in the comments section below, and if you are, like me, incredibly hyped for the Battlefront Classic Collection, make sure to like and subscribe, as the second that comes out, I will be discussing my initial thoughts. Anyways, this is Red Yellow King signing off, and I will see you in the next one.
Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight. Finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh.